Alright, everyone. Today we're going to talk about protein. What is protein? Why is it important that I'm consuming proper amounts? Because ultimately it comes down to being more than just a building block for muscle or some sort of aesthetic or physique. Protein has a lot more functions in our diet than we think of when we think about eating protein, and we just think about bodybuilders putting on this massive amount of muscle because they're eating so much protein. That's not true. The truth is consuming protein helps to catalyze a lot of other functions and reactions in the body that allow us to perform better, sleep better, and have more energy. So all of these things that feed into that healthier, more pepped up lifestyle that we're looking for, protein actually can provide a lot of that for us, and we don't even know that. So a lot of the reactions that happen in our body need something called enzymes. Now, protein and the building blocks of proteins called amino acids also make up enzymes. Now, enzymes help to catalyze reactions or make them go faster. So for anyone who's ever go-karted as a kid, and I don't know if anyone can ever relate to this, but my friends and I found out that you could find a button right behind you on the motor of a go-kart at a public place. Now, this governor is to limit the amount of speed that the go-kart has. But when you pull this latch or push this button, depending on the type of go-kart, you release the governor and you can actually flow more gasoline through the tank, which allows the car to go faster. So, enzymes help to do this with reactions. Enzymes will actually attach themselves to a protein or other sort of substance and change that protein physically in order to catalyze or make that reaction faster, or even make it possible. Sometimes we need these enzymes in order for a reaction to even occur, because these enzymes change the shape of these proteins physically, or these substances physically, in order to find the proper attachments. So, protein is a little bit complicated. Biochemically, protein is just a chain of amino acids, and they fold in different forms and different ways in order to provide the certain functions that they're meant to perform via our DNA and RNA. So protein is just a chain of amino acids, and I'll draw some triangles here and maybe a square. Go back to a circle, maybe back to a square. So we have 20 different amino acids in nutrition, right? 20 different ones. 11 of these are non-essential, meaning it's not essential that we consume these. 9 of them are essential. These are not found or cannot be produced by our body. So non-essential means that taking one amino acid, and so these are amino acids. So proteins are made up of chains of amino acids. There are 20 amino acids that we know. 11 are non-essential and 9 are essential. Non-essential means that our body can produce them or create them through some sort of reaction from some other amino acid and or some other product. Essential means that our body cannot create that inside. We need to consume it via our diet, which is where protein in our diet comes in. You can consume all 20 amino acids through foods. Meats having all 9 essential amino acids. So that's where we get into the talk about vegetarian versus meat eaters. Red meats do have all animal meats have all 9 essential amino acids that you cannot create inside your body. And so that's when we have to talk about with vegetarians how to pair certain foods that have all 9 essential amino acids so they're getting everything. Because you can imagine that if we are lacking a lot of this circle, let's just call it tryptophan, that eventually we will not be able to create this chain of amino acids leading to the protein we want, and that will diminish the job that that enzyme is actually supposed to do. So say it's supposed to, signal to insulin to pull glucose in. If we're missing the wrong enzyme for that to catalyze that reaction, it's just not going to happen A, as fast, or B, happen at all. So it's very, very important that we consider essential and non-essential amino acids and what that can lead to further down the line if we're not consuming enough of the essentials, and if our body for some reason isn't producing enough of the non-essentials, maybe because it doesn't have the source to pull from. So therefore we need to look at things in our diet and the things that we consume as well in that sense. So that's like the little nitty gritty on protein. In terms of nutrition, we think about protein as a macronutrient and something we consume. So we're going to dive a little bit more into that.